We haven't met. I'm Jennifer Elliott, and this is VinYin. And today we're working towards fallen flamingo. And what that means to you is getting into the hamstrings and getting into the core, and then a little bit of what I call cupcake hands. So we'll start to get into that. So let's get started in Shavasana. So you can just start on your back. Anything that's comfortable for you. So once you get to your Shavasana or whatever pose you've chosen to open with, just take a few moments to settle. Let the jaw unhinge and the eyes soften. And usually I teach whether I tell you or not to a chakra. And so today's chakra would be root chakra. And so we're really thinking about grounding, feeling really stable in our body, and really connecting to our legs and feet. So it was real interesting for me planning this out today with my toes and seeing how I was feeling. So notice how you feel, either just how you're connecting to the earth beneath you, or what's happening in your feet, your legs, or anything that you find is your foundation or support. And if you'd like to set an intention around that, go ahead and set an intention. Mine is just to be present and literally light on my feet. So once you have your intention in mind, let's invite in a deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and let it out. Again, in through the nose. Open the mouth, let it out. In through the nose. Hold. Sip a bit more breath in through the nose. Sip a bit more breath in. Open the mouth and let it out. Then take an inhale through the nose. And an exhale back out. All right, let your breath just find its own pattern now. Take an inhale, interlace the fingers, send the arms overhead, reach behind you. Straighten the legs, press through the heels or toes. You explore for you. And then bend your knees, pull your knees into your chest, give yourself a nice hug. You can curl your forehead up to meet your knees, let the shoulders rest down the back. And then lower your head to the floor. Keep holding onto the right knee and lower the left leg down. You can flex through both feet. So dorsiflex the feet. Interlace your hands on top of the right shin. So not really the knee, but more middle of the shin bone. As you flex, start to actively press your right shin up into your hands. And as you're pressing that shin upwards, let the left leg float up just an inch. Pubic bone to navel, feel the low back anchor. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, curl, forehead to knee, breathe. Choose to stay here or add a little bit extra by releasing the hands, scooping the belly in, and really reaching forward. Hold onto the shin if you weren't already, lower the head, lower the heel. And then you can just straighten up the right leg, point, flex, rotate through the ankle. You might gently start to slide the hands up the leg a little higher. Don't force anything just yet. Raise the left leg up about an inch, press through the heel. Take an inhale. And exhale again, maybe curl a bit. Use your abdominals, not pulling your leg in here. It's all about the core lifting you. Maybe slide the hands higher. But test yourself. You can even send those arms forward again. If that feels too much, go back to the leg, but don't pull the leg in. Lift the chest up. And then very slowly come back down. Bend your right knee, cross it over your body, and enjoy a nice twist. Come back to center. Pull both knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug. Hold onto the left knee, lower the right leg down. Dorsiflex, flex both feet. Interlace your hands in the middle of the left shin. Press the left shin into the hands. Soften the jaw as you do this. And let the right leg float up just an inch. Pubic bone to navel, low back anchors. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl, forehead to knee. Breathe. Stay as you are or separate the hands and reach forward. Lift the navel in, find your breath. And then hold on to the shin if you weren't, lower the head, lower the heel. Straighten the leg up, interlace behind, point, flex, and rotate. And then you can slide, again, the hands a little higher up the leg, but we're just being mindful. We're not going too deep into our hamstring stretch yet. Pick up the right leg just an inch, press through the heel, inhale, you can stay, or exhale, curl the heart up. Again, use the abdominals to lift you. You can slide the hands up, but try not to muscle yourself higher. If you're like me, the second side is not quite as successful as the first, so just be where you are. You might release the hands. Hold the leg if you weren't already, lower the head and heel, bend the knee, take the leg over, and enjoy a nice twist. Now find your way back to center. Bend both of your knees, set your feet down onto the floor. So I already knew I was going to be here, so I took my clip out so my head could sort of rest naturally on the ground. We're going to move into a bridge, but we don't normally do bridges this early in the practice, so just be mindful with it. I'm going to hold the edges of the mat, wrap the shoulders underneath, looking at the ceiling as the hips lift into bridge. Now, a couple of things we want to find in this bridge. I don't care really about how high the hips are. Think more about scooping the tailbone up to the back of the knees. Dig your heels into the mat and imagine you could pull your heels back towards your bum, engaging the back of the thigh. And if you feel ready to add anything else, you can pick up your right leg and reach it towards the ceiling. Now, this may be a tall order, so if you want that little extra, go for it. If it feels like a lot on your back, just stay with your bridge. And then bend your knee, place your foot back down, lower the spine down, take a moment. And then one more time, peel your hips up, walk the shoulders underneath you. Stay as you are, pull the heels in towards you. Now you can stay here or pick up the left knee. Keep lifting the hips and maybe take that foot towards the ceiling. Make sure you're only looking at the sky, not at the screen. We'll take one more breath. Bend your knee, set the foot down. And paint the spine down. I felt that, I don't know about you. So knees in, rock yourself up to seated, pause on your sit bones. Find that perfect spot where you're not rocking back or falling forward. And then when you sit up, lift your chest. Dorsiflex your feet like we've been doing. Pull the knees in, lift the chest, hug the inner thighs, you can stay, or release the hands. Find your breath. And I'm going to see if I can multitask and throw my hair back in a clip, since I want to stay here anyway. All right. Then go ahead and find hands under the knees, cross at the ankles. You can bring yourself over your shins. For me, I'm going to have to shift it a little bit. So let's find our way to hands and knees to tabletop. Spread wide through your fingers in your table and just start moving through cat-cow. So inhale, the chest pulls forward. Exhale, round. Press into the palms and really work on this rounding of the back. We're going to do this a lot today. Inhale, chest pulls forward, lift the navel in. Exhale, round, and really press more into the palms than you might normally. Press your back to the ceiling. One more. Inhale and exhale. Now shift back, hips to heels. I'm going to cross kind of in a funny way just to protect my foot, but normally you'll just be sitting back on your feet as they were. Walk the hands out in front of you, and then we're going to do what I call cupcake hands. So pop up onto your finger pads like you're trying to hide a nice tall frosted cupcake underneath your palms. So get a little grip in the suction part of your fingertips, lift up your palm, let your head relax, and then feel this idea of the heart pulling forward and the arm bones pulling back. So working in those opposite movements. Then gaze up, root through the palms, but have that sort of a lift from the forearms. Come up hands and knees, tuck the toes under, and lift up and back, downward facing dog. And when you get to down dog, pedal the feet out, do a little bit of movement here, and then settle in to the pose of this moment. So I always like to create this baseline, see how I feel in the first down dog, so I can compare as I move through the practice. So that's all we're really comparing to, is to our own body. It's not good, bad, or otherwise. Meet your body where you are today. Then shift forward into plank, top of a push-up. Press into the palms. Pull your chest forward and lift the hips about a ½ inch higher than you think you should. Now from plank, or by putting the knees down, tip forward and lower slowly to the floor. Elbows hug the body the whole way down. Reach back through your toes. And then for our Cobra, instead of leaving the hands where they are, come up under the finger pads, those cupcake hands. You're off of your mat and you're about level with your shoulders. Elbows are up at a nice 90 degrees. Reach back through the toes. Push into the finger pads. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the navel. Exhale, release. Intimidating Cobra. Inhale, press into the fingers and toes, lift the navel and chest. One more. Root to rise, press down, lift up, belly in, and release. Hands by your sides, press up table or plank, whatever you're ready for. Downward facing dog again. And from down dog, this can always be table. You'll find I'm going to do a couple of sides on the left in table instead of down dog just to protect my foot. So if down dog's not for you, do this in table pose. But extend the right leg behind you. Reach it back halfway. Look back, see that the toes are pointing down, so you're spinning up from the inner thigh. Press into the palms, and we're here a few more breaths. You really want to feel like that leg is strong, as if it's pushing into the wall behind you. Let's take another breath. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring yourself in, push into the palms, try to pull the knee up high, just like we did in that child's pose, or in that cat-cow rather. Inhale the leg back. Exhale, knee to nose. Round, just like that cat tilt. Take one more breath. And then step your right foot next to your right thumb tip. Now normally I would say hands on floor or blocks, but since we're thinking cupcake hands today, see if you can pop onto your finger pads, find those cupcake hands, and pull your chest forward. Try to lift your navel slightly off the thigh. Inhale. Exhale, push into the finger pads, lift the hips and the front toes. Keep a good generous bend in the front knee, back heel lifted. Inhale forward, lift the heart. Exhale back, push into the finger pads as you shift back. Shift forward, hands on the floor, step back quietly, plank, top of your push-up. From plank or knees, shift forward, go slow. Lower to the ground. Inhale, Cobra, Sphinx, or we'll see if I can do it. Yep, no, not a big deal. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And shift. Okay, so I'm going to come to my knees just because I want to protect my foot. But you're in down dog or you were already in table. Either way, we're going to reach the left leg back halfway like we did before. So press the heel back. Take several breaths here. How strong can you get your leg? Spin the inner thigh up, lift the navel in. Take an inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Push into the palms, round the back. Really find that core work. Inhale back. Exhale, knee to nose, round. Press down to lift the knee up. And then when you're ready, step through. Take that foot next to the left thumb tip. Now see if you can come up to the lunge. I'm going to just do it consciously. Pop onto your finger pads. Lift your heart, gaze forward. And then exhale, lift up and back. Push into your finger pads as you shift back into your wide pyramid. Inhale, forward lunge. Exhale, back, wide pyramid. Inhale, forward lunge. Root through the palms. Step back, plank. And then from plank or knees, shift forward, lower. Inhale is your back bend. Down dog. Okay, how are we doing? Take a few breaths here. Now, since our focus is feet and legs today, notice your feet. Now, my foot is doing all these funny things to compensate or to be safe. And so I'm noticing how my foot is turning in more than usual. But since we're focused on feet today, maybe check out your feet as well. Are they even? Can you spread the toes? Try to lift them. You hide the heels behind the second toe. And then high to your toes, bend your knees, gaze forward, step or hop, top of the mat. When you arrive, come up halfway, chest forward. Exhale, fold. Root to rise. Inhale, the arms reach to the sky, navel in and up. And exhale, hands to heart. Okay, how are we doing? Top of the mat, feet together, arms by your sides. Surya Namaskar. Inhale, arms rise, navel in and up. Exhale, forward fold, soften the knees on the way down. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, step to plank, or you're welcome to jump to chaturanga. Shift forward, lower halfway. Now, some of you can scrub your toes, go right to up dog. I'm going to do my sort of makeshift way. Press into the feet and palms. Down dog. Okay, we're here 5 breaths. Press into the palms. Now, even though the hands are flat, feel that idea of the cupcake hands are pushing away from the palms. The palms root down as the inner shoulders lift up. Hips lift high, thigh bones press back. Bend your knees, gaze up, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway, exhale fold. Root to rise, reach the arms to the sky. Palms press, navel in and up, and exhale, hands to heart. Okay, we're gonna change it. So this time, feet are together. Sit back into chair, Utkatasana. Shift the weight back towards the heels, lift the navel in and up. Take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, step or jump back. Vinyasa, we'll meet in down dog. Okay, so listen carefully. We're not going to raise the right leg up like we normally do. Just pull the right knee to the chest. Look forward and with control, step your foot next to your right thumb tip. Boost the back foot up. Anchor through the heels and rise. Warrior one. Sink into your lunge. So we're slowing down a Surya Namaskar B. We'll do it sort of at pace here in a moment, instead of it going through our 5 Surya A's like I normally do. Gaze up, palms press. Exhale, hands to the floor, step to plank. Move through your vinyasa. And then again, avoid lifting the left leg up behind you. Instead, pull the knee towards the chest. And lightly step it next to the left thumb tip. Boost the back foot high. When you're ready, come on up, warrior one. Root through the heels, lift the navel, find your breath. Gaze up, palms press. Hands to the floor, step back, plank. Vinyasa, or meet in down dog. All right, 5 breaths here. High to your toes, bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Come up halfway, chest is forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, drop your seat, chair pose. Root to rise, press high, arms by your sides. Okay, next round, slightly more at pace. Inhale, sit back chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, step or jump back. Vinyasa, or skip it, you can meet in down dog. And then right away, right knee in, step it forward, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back and flow. Right away, step left foot forward, Virabhadrasana 1. Inhale, rise. And hands down. Step back, plank. Vinyasa, or your own cycle here. 5 breaths. If you have an injury like I do, or you're just feeling stiff, those are actually really great ways to get into your practice. They keep you humble, they keep you present, and they keep you innovative, finding new ways to move into things. Eye to your toes, bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway, exhale fold. Bend your knees, drop your seat, find chair, root to rise, arms by your sides. Okay, last one. Do it at pace or stop, make it up. If you want to do anything else, go for it. But essentially, there's a right and a left side for your lunge, and there's 3 vinyasas. We'll do 3 down dogs, meet in the last down dog. All right, on your own, when you're ready, inhale and exhale. Always skip vinyasas if you need to protect your wrists or shoulders. One movement per breath. Okay, we're meeting in this down dog, so take a few breaths to get here. If you need to come out earlier, just feels better. We'll meet in child's pose. And when you're ready, place your knees on the ground. If you're in child's pose, come up or just take a moment to rest. Okay, so I'm going to use my block, and I'll do sort of the deeper version on the first side and then the modified version on the second side. So I'm going to take my block at my heel and my bum and point the toes up. So I want to lock that block in. I'm going to root through my palms and then try to raise the block up to the height of the hip. And it really takes the hamstrings to work. So I say this, had we done this earlier, actually, you might still feel those Charlie horses, but I really like this because it really gets you to use the back of the thigh. Now on this side, I'm able to do it. Tuck the left toes under and lift up into down dog, but keeping that block high. If you drop it, no big deal, but see if you can lift the knee higher and then slowly return. Okay, let's switch to the other side. Again, I won't go high on this one, I'll modify. I'm going to put the block between the heel and the sit bone, point the toes up. And then I'm going to root through the remaining limbs and raise the left knee up. Try to lift it high. And sometimes you have to check. You think it's high and then you look back, it's nowhere near hip height. So take the time to lift it, pull the belly in. And then those of you that can, tuck the right toes under and come into down dog. If not, this is still plenty of work. All right, slowly release. Move that block back. And then slow to down dog. Should feel really nice on the hamstrings. And we're going to walk our hands towards our heels, forward fold to the back of the mat. And then yogi's choice. You can stand on your hands or flip your hands next to your feet, Handstand or its variations. Maybe look a little left and right. And shake your head, yes and no. Release the head. And then gaze up. Release the hands, make sure your feet are hip width, and walk forward, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the foot directly to the hands. And I'm moving slower, but I'd like us to move slower anyway. Let's drop the back heel down and set up the feet for warrior two. But stay low so you can really sink into your lunge. Right hand on the thigh and almost push down into the thigh as you come up into warrior two. So there's this grounding action on that front thigh. So sink in, find that your front heel is intersecting your back arch, and then when you're ready, open the arms. Find your pose. And just really feel, I find that we don't get really deep into that thigh. So almost like there's a weight on that right leg, really root into it. All right, and then your choice. You can look over the right hand. You can have more of a neutral neck, or it's sometimes nice to change perspective and look over the back hand. So we'll be here a few more breaths. Building our stamina, a little bit of heat. Really feel that right buttock wrap under and the left thigh press back. So there's this sandwiching action of squeezing everything to the center. Straighten the right leg. Kick the hips back. You might shorten your stance a little like I did. Reach forward and set up for triangle. So I'm going to use my block just to give myself a little bit of extra space. Pull the bottom waist long. Top ribs absorb in. And then top arm is up to you, whatever you'd like. Couple of breaths here. And then gaze down. Sweep the top hand down. Come up onto your back toes. Left hand is flat on the floor or block. I'll use the block since I've got it. And then right arm reaches high. Now you can stay here or you can make this a side plank. This side I'm able to do that, so I'll demo. So find your side plank or stay in that lunge twist. And then make your way back to plank. Choose a flow or go right to down dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step it directly to the center of the hands. Drop the back heel down, stay low so you can really get into that lunge. Hand on the thigh, push into it, then come up, warrior two. Front heel intersects back arch. Have this idea of weight on that front femur to take it down a little deeper. Can you firm that back right hip in? Lengthen the side waist evenly, open through the chest. And then see where that gaze wants to be for you. Feel heavy and stable in the legs. Here are a few more breaths. That same wrapping of the left buttock under. Press the right leg back. Sandwich it together. And straighten the legs. Maybe shorten your stance a little bit. Hinge from your hips, reach forward. Maybe find your block for your triangle pose. Utkatasana. Tri is 3. Cone is angle asana pose. So your 3 angled pose. And then gaze down, sweep the top hand down. Come up onto the back toes. You can stay there or use your block. Left arm high, and then some of you took that side plank. All right, release. And then find your way into down dog, whether that's through a flow or just right there. High to the toes, bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Come up halfway, chest is forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, drop your seat. Root to rise, slowly stand. Arms by your sides. Okay, I'm building a little heat, hopefully you are. So let's turn to face the side wall. Take the legs really wide. Turn your toes out. heels in, and then have a nice squat. So finding goddess pose. If we weren't already feeling warm enough for inner legs, this will do it. Hands are up to you. You can bring them at the heart. You can wind them up, or sometimes it's nice just to have them open. So take a few moments here, sink into those hips. Soften the face. And really check in. So in these moments, can you feel like one leg is taking more weight than the other? We sort of have this illusion all the time that we're balanced, but if you really close the eyes and check in, you might notice one leg is a little longer than the other, or one weight is bearing more weight. So see if you can notice just a couple more breaths. And then blink the eyes open, slowly rise. Hands on hips. Turn the toes in slightly. Hug those outer ankles in, so squeeze everything to the center line. Lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to the floor. Now again, normally I'd say grab your blocks, but we want to have these cupcake hands. So bring yourself up onto those pads of fingers. Pull your chest forward, hug your outer hips in. You can stay here. Or as you keep those legs strong, fold in. And then maybe walk the hands behind you, fingertips face the back of your mat, or the back of the wall behind you. Chest forward, grip the mat behind you or the floor, and try to almost pull your chest through your legs. Couple of breaths. Hug the outer ankles in. Lift the arches, try to lift the toes slightly. Hug the side hips in. And as the sternum tries to pull forward, your fingertips are trying to pull you back between your legs just a little more. Come up halfway. Back to finger pads. Hands to your hips, elbows to the sky. Slowly come on up. Okay, step your feet in. Just work out those ankles a moment. One more time. Go back. Turn those legs out wide. I know. Back to our goddess pose or horse squat, however you want to view it. Hands are up to you. Sink in. Maybe close the eyes. And just take 3 breaths. Try to find some steadiness, some ease. So part of this is sort of confronting fear or anxiety. As we're here longer, everything starts to build, and it's you relaxing and sort of calming down and creating some stillness even when there's some uncertainty. All right, let's go ahead and straighten up. Turn the toes in just a little bit. You can interlace hands behind you. I'm going to use a strap just because I feel a little tight in the shoulders today. So interlace hands behind you or use your strap. Take an inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, forward fold. And I've just taken the strap around my wrists. I could have held the strap. It's just what I had naturally. Let's just get some nice opening in the shoulders. And then lead with your heart. Come all the way up to stand. All right, nicely done. So remove that strap if you've got it. Step to the top of your mat. Feet are hip width, and I've got my blocks available because I'm going to use them in a moment. So I'm going to take my left foot, step it back about 4 feet. When I do that naturally, the back toes turn out a little bit, just like I did for Warrior One. So make sure that you're not on a tightrope, or that the back toes aren't too turned out. So have the back toes turned in. Utkatasana, hands on the hips. Lift the chest, inhale. Exhale, take a forward fold. Go slow, hinge from below the pelvis. And then hands on blocks is really nice. We'll eventually remove that. If you don't have it, then don't worry. But push into the palms, whether it's on the floor, blocks, or cupcake hands. Chest forward. And then see if you can shift a bit more weight to the back heel so the weight is even between the legs. Walk the hands forward to try to pull your chest through and get your forehead a little closer to the shin. It's totally fine if it's nowhere near. Try to lift up through the kneecaps. Pull the navel in and use that to bring you closer to the leg. Gaze up. Bend your front knee. If hands aren't already forward, move them forward. Pick up the back leg like we did in the beginning to hip height. So look back, see that you're pointing the toes directly down. Pull your chest forward, level out the pelvis. You can stay here. If you want to float those hands up for warrior three, go for it. I'm gonna just protect my foot and not give it any too much balance here. So I'm gonna stay with hands as they are. But see if you can find your balance, whether it's hands supported or hands lifted. And if the hands are up, place them back down. Pull the left knee into your chest. Push into the palms, try to round as much as you can, and set the foot on the floor next to the right. Bend your knees, drop your seat, chair pose, rise with the right knee. Find your balance. And then send the right leg back, hands are up to you. Warrior three, so same options. Hands can be floating or they can be on those blocks. And however you arrive, stand up, Tadasana. Okay, side two. So take the feet hip width. Step the right foot back about 4 feet or so. Everyone's a little bit different. Square the hips. Lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Take your time. Use your blocks if you'd like. Sides are different, so maybe you're a little higher on those props. Pull the chest forward. And really try to press through the palms, drive the chest forward, and seal that back heel down. And then if and when you're ready, walk those blocks forward. I can already tell this side, the hamstrings aren't quite as loose as the right side. I'm keeping my blocks higher and melting only as I feel ready. Try to lift the kneecaps up. If you're like me, I lock my knees out, so I'm trying to lift my kneecaps without locking them in the back side. Gaze up. If hands aren't already forward, move them forward. Pick up the back leg to hip height. Spin that inner thigh up to level the pelvis. You can look back and see. You can stay or float the hands for your warrior three. Hands are lifted, place them back down, pull the right knee to your chest. Round, press into the palms, think of that cat tilt in the back, and then set your foot down next to your left. Bend your knees, drop your seat, find chair pose. Slowly rise with the left leg, and then when you're ready, send it back, warrior three. Or use hands on props like I am. And then however you arrive, Tadasana. Okay, let's move into our peak pose. So I'm just gonna set up kind of the same way. So my feet are hip width apart. I'm gonna step the left leg back, setting up for Utkatasana again. Hands on hips, inhale. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Now already you've kind of found what's working for you. What's nice about repeating things is we have muscle memory, but also we're a little bit more flexible, right? There's a little bit more movement in the muscles. So you can stay as we were. You can walk hands and blocks forward. But because we're working towards fallen Flamingo, I'm gonna walk my hands back like I did in Utkatasana. My fingertips are facing the back of my mat. I'm pressing into my finger pads, and as I push into the finger pads, I'm pulling my chest forward. I'm trying to really get nice and rooted in this front leg. Now, if this feels good, I'm gonna push so much into my fingertips that my back foot can get light, knee in, and then can you lift that foot, heel towards the button. Push into the fingers, forehead to shin, find your breath. And step it back down. Okay, how'd we do? So come up halfway, hands to hips, whew, and rise. Take that back foot forward. So I always practice, before I practice, I've done this quite a few times today, but I was just getting this image of, the flamingo with the foot up with me, spending all this time making sure I'm not on my foot. So it was a fun image for me, so I thought it worked out really nicely today. Okay, so second side. Step your right foot back. Lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, hinge, forward fold. Hands to props. Stop at this halfway point. Just really set yourself up. We're not in a rush. You can stay or walk those hands forward. And I like to do that sort of just to get myself longer and a little closer to the front leg. And then maybe you place the hands reaching back, fingertips face the back of the mat. You're up on the finger pads. Pull the chest forward as you push into the finger pads. Try to lift the left kneecap. Now, if you feel you can push into the finger pads and this feels safe for you, then start to pick up the back foot, heel towards the bum. Really press into your palms, into your finger pads rather. And then set it down. Whew. Okay. Gaze up. Hands on hips, lead with the heart. Whew. We've arrived. Come on up. Back foot steps forward. Inhale, sit back into chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Take your final vinyasa if you want, or let's meet in down dog. Knees to the ground, tailbone to the heels, child's pose. And you can do anything you want with the arms. We're done with those cupcake hands. All right, roll yourself up. Find your way onto your back. And then we're gonna grab a block. One of my favorite core poses is pass the block. Now, if you don't have a block, this can be a folded blanket. You can use nothing, but be careful if it's a heavy block. I don't want anyone dropping it on their face. So take your block up between your feet. If you don't have a block, your feet are gonna stay together, which when you don't have the block in the feet, they're gonna do that anyway. So the block is in between the feet, if you have it. The hands are up, the thumbs hook, because you're always gonna keep your hands and your feet connected in some way. Inhale, move your hands back, feet forward, any amount to where you feel in control. Exhale, bring it back. Take the block out of your feet, feet together, and inhale, reach, hands back, feet forward. Exhale, return. Give yourself back the block to your feet. Inhale, reach back and forward. And so on. So just continue on your own. Move slow. Inhale, you're finding length. And exhale, you're returning to center. We'll do maybe 5 more. If you come out early, just enjoy a rest. All right, last one. Okay, knees into your chest, give yourself a hug. Rock a little side to side. All right, so let's rock ourselves up. We're gonna move to an inversion. I'm gonna use the wall because I just, still again, it's about keeping my foot safe, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is the easier option. So we're gonna move to half handstand at the wall. And I'm gonna stand up. If you have a wall available, great. If not, any inversion is fine. Legs at the wall or up on a couch or something is fine too. But I'm just gonna sort of test my, my length here. Hands at hip height facing the wall. I'm gonna step back. Hands press into the wall and I'm pushing my hips straight back. Okay, so I'm just sort of feeling what that's like. I'm gonna turn around and kind of have an idea of where my feet are gonna be. But I'm gonna come down into Dandasana first. I'm just gonna sit against the wall and feel the upper ribs pull back to the wall. So I can stay here. What I'm gonna do, you can watch first, I'll do it twice. I'm not gonna pull my feet into me. I'm gonna move to my feet. This is a measuring distance. And then I'm gonna take my hands next to my feet. Heels go at the molding. You're gonna feel too short, but you wanna keep your hands about where they are. And then 1 foot at hip height. Add the other foot at hip height, push into the feet, pull the front ribs in. And I can stay here, or I can lift one leg like we've been doing, rotating the toes in. So if you'd like to try this, go for it. What you're gonna feel is that you almost feel like you're too short and you end up walking forward into something that's more like a plank. So if you feel like you need to move up, move your butt towards the ceiling. If this isn't for you, any inversion is fine. So shift to your feet, forward fold, hands next to your feet, heels up the molding, and then go slow. I'm gonna do the other leg, I think that's okay. One foot at hip height, the other foot at hip height. And I can tell that I probably look too short. So I'm gonna try to pull my ribs back. And then raise one leg up, point the toes at the wall, hug the inner thighs together. And I can do the other leg. If you wanna do a regular handstand sort of facing the wall, go for it. If you have a headstand practice, that's fine. And then when you come down, enjoy child's pose or anything that allows you just to rest for a moment. All right. So you're welcome to spend another minute or two there. I'm pretty pooped, so I'm going to take legs up the wall. And I'm going to grab my timer because we're going to start to wind down now. So if you don't have a wall, or when you come out of your inversion, if you're staying longer, legs in the air with a block or prop underneath you is fine. I just had this wall, so it was nice for me to use. So in some way, elevate your legs in a more restorative fashion. So not in that handstand version. And we'll be here not too long. We're just going to be here 2 minutes. I have a little timer on my phone. If you've not heard this before, it's called Insight Timer. And that way we can just sort of settle and rest. We know I haven't forgotten about us. And as the eyes close here, see how you feel. I feel now much more rooted to the earth, much more heavy and grounded and stable than when I checked in the very beginning. As we wind down, really start to slow the breath down. You might do that, but just consciously taking a pause, a gentle hold in between the inhale and the exhale. So I always kind of imagine that my breath is like a swimmer doing laps. And when I get to the end of a lap, I take a pause so I can turn around before I go the next length of the pool again. So take your inhale as if you're moving through the whole length of the pool, just a natural inhale. And at the top, take a gentle pause. Imagine yourself turning around. And then exhale slowly down to the other end of the pool. Let your breath go. At the bottom of the exhale, give yourself a pause. Visualize yourself turning around again. And inhale. Let the breath return, traveling all the way up the spine. And just continue this visualization on your own if that's working for you. All right, now you can keep the breath moving as it was. We're going to bend our knees. Now I'm going to use the wall because it's here, but you don't have to. I'm just going to keep my knees bent and completely drop the knees to the left. So a nice, good crack there, nice final twist. If this is not for you, any twist is fine. Again, we'll be here 2 minutes. And twists are really great. They really create this good benefit for your spine. They sort of realign your spine. And maybe you return back to that imagery of sort of swimming up and down the spine with the breath. And part of that imagery is to keep you present in these moments where you know we're going to be here a little longer. You might tend to check out or start to get to your to-do list. But instead, let this be your to-do list. Give yourself something to do. Let your mind land on the breath. We're here about 30 more seconds. I'm just going to adjust myself. Same pose, I'm just shifting a little bit. About 5 breaths left for 30 seconds. All right, knees through center. Turn that down a little bit and drop your knees to the right. And set yourself up for side 2. Interesting, I can already tell side 2 is not as open. So sometimes it's super obvious and other times you have to really investigate and observe. And if you'd like a new tool, a new way to think about your breath, let's start to create an even breath. We'll actually do a square breath. It's equal on all 4 sides. So there's an inhale, pause, and exhale, pause. So let's take an inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath out for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4. Hold the breath for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold the breath out for 4. Let your breath return to normal. Natural recovery breaths. All right. Slowly find your way back to center. Take a moment here just to pause. Maybe windshield wiper your knees. And pull your knees into your chest. Find your way up to seated. And we're going to move into Sukhasana or double pigeon, whatever that looks like for you. So the way that we're going to do this, you may or may not sit on a prop. I'm going to have a blanket available in case I want it, a couple blocks. I always like those options. And I'm going to sit on the prop and I'm going to cross middle of the shins. So instead of crossing at the ankles, knees in like a heart, I'm going to cross middle of the shins. Now this is sort of where I can be naturally. Double pigeon is not for me, but I'll give you a demo, sort of. So if you want to go into double pigeon, ideally these would be stacked. This is not really my pose. If I did it, I would have a little support. So you decide Sukhasana or double pigeon. You can sit up tall, or if the knees are healthy and happy, you can shift forward. I'm going to use my props. So we'll set the timer here. We'll be here just about 2.5 minutes, not too long. Now, if this is not for you, your knees are not happy, you have low back disc herniations where forward fold is not for you, thread the needle is on your back. I see a few of you already making some really good options. So thread the needle can be on your back. You can take pigeon pose. These are a nice option, so whatever you need. And there's a few other options I see which are really great. So anything similar is fine. And if your hamstrings are just done, we did a lot of hamstring work, you can always take a supported bridge or something that sort of works more the front lines instead of the back. So whatever you're feeling comfortable with. But we've got 90 seconds left. So maybe close the eyes. And if one of those breathing techniques was working for you, maybe take that for this last minute. In your last 30 seconds. Okay, bring yourself up. Switch to side 2 of whatever pose you chose. Second side, left side most likely, in front or on top. Flex the feet. Sit tall or forward fold. Sides are different, so just check in. Again, just 2.5 minutes, not long. And as you close your eyes here, you might start to visualize your physical body getting heavy and really melting into the earth body. Let any tension go, anything you're holding on to. A lot of times it's very subconscious. So if you just will yourself, you just ask yourself to soften, you'll be surprised where you start to find that release. And here, 90 more seconds. Start to slowly back yourself out. I'm going to make our way to our back. So take a moment just to find your way to your back, winch away for the knees a little bit. And then drop both knees to the left. We'll just be here a couple of breaths. It's not quite a twist, it's more windshield wiper legs. And then drop to the right. Come to center, pull the knees into the chest, give yourself a hug. Come full circle. And then finish with any movements you'd like. Maybe happy baby, or seated forward fold, plow if there's no neck sensitivity. You can rock a little side to side if you're in happy baby. Some of you might even toe lock. So if I have the room, maybe. I'll take those legs wide. And do what you'd like to set up for Shavasana. So I'll set my timer one last time. This just gives us a feeling of safety. We know that I haven't forgotten about us. So it's a 3-minute Shavasana. I can find it. There we are. Okay, so get yourself set up. Anything that's going to really feel comfortable for you. So maybe even legs up the wall. Let the pelvis settle. If you have a sandbag or an additional blanket or something to place over your belly, that's always nice. Maybe you have an eye pillow. Just check back in. What was your intention in the beginning of practice? Is it the same one here? Is it different? Did you forget all about it? Let the body melt, surrendering into the earth. You've arrived. Shavasana. Start to draw your attention back. Move fingers and toes. And inhale to reach the arms overhead, maybe yawn. Bend your knees, make your way to your side. A moment to pause. With eyes closed or partially closed, press yourself upright to seated. As you come to your final seat, bring your hands to your heart in gratitude for all the work your body has done. Lift your chest, bow your chin. Namaste.